Tony Ferguson versus Kevin Lee going down October 7th. This is my final prediction, my final breakdown for the fight. This, to me personally, this is one of my favorite fights of the entire year. Stylistically, this is just a great fight. You have both guys. Tony Ferguson, older veteran, taller, long reach. Kevin Lee, younger, a lot more green than Ferguson. Hasn't been in too many wars, and he's shorter than Ferguson, but he has surprisingly he has quite a longer arm reach than Tony. Overall, I think this is just a great match from bottom to top, whatever way you look at it. They both match each other. Both great striking, both great ground game. We've seen it. Kevin Lee showed it against Michael Chiesa. Tony Ferguson, his ground game is some of the best. We've seen him on the ground plenty of times. He got the impressive submission victory over Orlando, even though it was his debut. It was still impressive. He choked out Edson Barboza. It's just overall great fighting, and yeah, I'm here to give you my breakdown. Well, I'm looking at the fight. You can see that Kevin Lee is a lot more talented guy. He has solid striking, and his fundamentals are correct. Tony Ferguson, he does a lot of sloppy things, but he makes up for it with his toughness and his aggression and his ground game. His ground game is really, really top notch, but his striking is he does a lot of sloppy things. And he can't afford to do that against Kevin Lee. Kevin Lee, he trains with the boxing trainer of Jesse Vargas as well, former kickboxer, Dewey Cooper, and I think that's big. I think that's big for having Dewey Cooper as your striking coach, because Dewey Cooper is a great kickboxing coach, but also he trained former world champ Jesse Vargas to a world championship, so that's big. We have seen a huge leap in Kevin Lee striking from his last loss in the UFC. And Tony Ferguson's striking has also looked really good. It has improved against from his fights from Lando Venata to his fight against Rafael dos Anjos, but he does do a lot of sloppy things. He leaves his chin exposed up in the air. He doesn't tuck his chin in. He doesn't pick his shoulders up. He does a lot of fundamentally wrong things that Kevin Lee can expose. But will he? I'm gonna get into that. I feel like my prediction on the fight is Ferguson outworks Kevin Lee, survives the big punches from Kevin Lee. The fight doesn't go underground. If it does, it's Kevin Lee shooting for a takedown, getting it, and Tony Ferguson working his way back up. And I see the fight standing on his feet and being a striking match. And ultimately, I see Tony Ferguson out dogging Kevin Lee. Kevin Lee is a great fighter, but I don't feel like he will be able to stand and hang with Tony Ferguson's aggression, his pressure, the way he's able to take punches and take punishment, and he doesn't break and he keeps coming. That does something psychologically to a fighter. And I don't know if Kevin Lee is prepared for that, since he's so young and he hasn't really been through that. When Edson Barboza and Tony Ferguson fought, Edson was hitting Ferguson with everything but the goddamn kitchen sink. Everything. But Tony Ferguson kept coming. He kept coming, and ultimately he had his opportunity and he took it, choked out Edson Barboza. And I feel like he can do this to Kevin Lee. Kevin Lee will show his flash of greatness, show his skill, but ultimately, I think the heart and determination and the dog in Tony Ferguson will get him the victory and force Kevin Lee to break. Kevin Lee has not fought anyone with the experience that Tony Ferguson has. Tony Ferguson only has one loss in the UFC, and it was a close, good fight against Michael Johnson. Other than that, he beat everyone convincingly. he has the heart, the determination, and most importantly, he has that he believes in himself, that mental toughness. When he was rocked against Lando Vanara, it didn't stop him. Next round, he submitted him. He has this willpower that it's hard to beat. It's hard to take from, and I don't think Kevin Lee is at that level yet because he's so green and he's so young and he hasn't fought anyone with the experience and the pressure that comes with fighting Tony Ferguson. Overall, this is one of my favorite matchups of the year, but I just do not think Kevin Lee is ready for Tony Ferguson. And but I hope he brings it. I hope the fight does last long. It is for an interim title, so it is 5 rounds is the main event. It's a hell of a fight, but ultimately, I'm choosing Tony Ferguson by stoppage within the third or fourth round. He breaks Kevin Lee. Kevin Lee, he takes him in it. Tony Ferguson takes Kevin Lee into the open waters and drowns him, takes him into deep waters and drowns him. And Kevin Lee does not have an answer for the pressure, the tenacity, the heart, the willpower that Tony Ferguson has. Kevin Lee will break in the third or fourth round. That's my prediction. He finishes him by TKO or he may get a submission, but he finishes him within the third or fourth round. Mark my words. That's my prediction. Comment down below. Let me know what you guys think. I'm out.